that whether you're a Remainer or a Leaver, and I'm a Leaver, this country is being betrayed by its political class.
The referendum must be respected. The views of those people who voted to leave, they must be respected. But almost as important, perhaps more important, is that they should also be ignored.
A family who were trying to enjoy a picnic on the Downs near Bristol were suddenly stopped when fluorescent-jacketed men approached them and told them to take down their windbreak because it was a semi-permanent structure. Is this possibly evidence of... Oh, just a moment.
You have permission.
Pardon?
You have permission.
Have permission?
Yes.
Permission?
Yes, of course.
To do a film?
Yeah.
Well, why do we need permission?
On the office, ask. On my manager.
Oh, I don't think we'll worry about it.
Camera for me.
That all Leavers were basically racist and xenophobes.
Pardon, sorry, I said...
You pretty much say that the Remainer argument is that all Leavers are basically racist and xenophobes.
No, I say that was one of the big tropes of the referendum campaign. Didn't work very well. Obviously, telling the people you want to vote for you that they're thick, racist, uneducated, and even worse than any of those things, old, didn't play very well. But it has helped some of the MPs to assuage their fears of going against the public vote by saying, well,
That's the language you use. Would you describe yourself as a racist? Because many see you that way.
Well, no, obviously not. But I am used to going on BBC programmes and being accused of such things when there is no evidence.
When all you do is write about suicide bombers blowing themselves up in Tower Hamlets, or a black Labour MP, Kate Ossamore, saying she only got the job because her skin colour.
Do you have to, at every possible juncture, show the BBC's grotesque bias? It's just hate. It's a vote for hate. Just hatred. And hate isn't democratic. And that means the vote isn't democratic. And so when they have the vote again, the people who hate aren't allowed to vote. A family trying to enjoy a picnic on the Downs near Bristol were suddenly stopped when a bunch of people in fluorescent jackets came up to them and stopped them doing it because they said they had a windbreak up and a windbreak constituted a semi-permanent structure and that wasn't allowed under the council regulations, and I'm sure they put... What? Sorry to stop you. Sorry, what?
Sorry, can you stop? Can you stop?
I'm sorry, why?
Well, why do we...
need permission to film in here.
Why do we need permission?
Because you do. You work,
why do we?
Because you're on Westminster grounds.
Well, we're on Westminster grounds out there.
I know, but
so we don't need permission.
Yes, you do.
No, we don't. It's just a park.
But these are your words.
These are your words.
Sorry, have you worked this out between you?
No, it's just what a lot of people think about it. It's just what a lot of people think about it.
You're writing about what this great betrayal it is, that all Brexiteers are portrayed as racist, and then you come up with things saying postal voters in Peterborough thought they were ticking a box to choose a Tarka Dal or a Brinjal Barji. I suppose this last comment will be considered racist. It is consistent, casual racism.
That's not casual racism
week
at all.
after week from you.
It's not casual
That's what you
racism
trade in. What is it then?
It's nothing to do with racism.
Why do you say, I suppose, this last comment?
It's about voter fraud in Peterborough, which happened particularly amongst the Pakistani community. And it was organised by a man called Tariq Mahmood, who was sent to prison for doing exactly that. So get a grip, Emily. You watch your news programmes, your bulletins, you will see every day this bunch outside. Usually it's the pro-Remain bunch outnumbering the Leavers, but they're always there. Why are they? What is their point? For a start, what am I going to tell the bloody nanny? I mean, awful, awful oiks and chavs, and it's absolutely beyond the pale. Of course we must have a second referendum. And this time I would suggest that we stop the Northerners from voting. I wasn't aware that they were allowed to vote in the first place. Awful people. The problems which have mounted up because it is ill-disciplined. They keep opening their fat gobs when they shouldn't. They contradict one another and they grandstand. Yeah. And all of that is undermining our negotiations with Europe. Yeah. And I just wish you could tell them, shut up and do as you're told and put the country first instead of your own pathetic political careers. Because what we're seeing at the moment is jockeying for position to replace Theresa May. If you want rid of her, get rid of her. I don't object to that. I don't think anyone would. Could you tell me why you're stopping us?
I'm stopping you because you need permission to have a tripod here.
A tripod? Why? Is that because it's a semi-permanent structure?
Possibly.
Just talk to you for a sec, from the Sunday Times. So do you want another vote, or do you want it just to stop? Could I ask you, sir? In your nice hat? Stop the Brexit mess. OK, tell me about why it's a mess.
Annie, darling.
Sorry, well, could I ask you, thank you for the music, what's your problem?
How did you
Is it
write
comedy?
it?
There's comedy sometimes, yes. Do you not know comedy? Do you not understand
I
it?
just wonder, when it's so consistent, when it's week after week, the bile that you spew up has to be
What
who
bile?
you are.
What bile?
This kind of
It's
stuff.
not bile.
Well, why would you mention black MPs, female Labour MPs one week, and Tower Hamlets the next week, and the people who are ticking a box to choose a target?
This is a real problem. You cannot but help it. That there are 17.4 million people out there who are distressed.
So this is
at
about
this.
them.
And they're not
This
all
is
like
about
you.
them.
They're not all like you.
That
I
they're
respect a lot of
distressed.
them.
They're distressed at the betrayal. And one of the things they're most distressed about is the way the BBC has behaved in the last 2.5 years.
You write this in your book. You say
It
that
is in
everyone
the
has
BBC.
been portrayed as xenophobic and racist. I'm simply using your language.
And you're doing it again.
I know.
Yes, you're doing it again.
Do walk into it a bit, though, don't you?
Yeah. No, I don't walk into anything. I speak what I think is the truth and what I think people like to hear.
But I think there's a reluctance in the BBC to actually engage with critics.
Robin, they think we're mad. They do. They think we're mad. They think we're wrong and we're mad. And they are in that bubble where everyone thinks the same as them. And then they will go onto their Twitter feeds where they are followed by people who think the same as them. And they think this is the country. And it's not the country. It's Kensal Green. You know, it really is. They think we're mad and wrong and that they have the public with them. And they don't.
It's almost that they don't understand the principle of...
Principle of what?
Sorry? What's
Excuse
going
me,
on
do you
here?
mind?
Yes, you were pointing your camera into our building. I just want to know why, please.
Why shouldn't we point the camera into the
I'm
building?
asking a question. Can you answer it for me, please?
Because we'd like to see what it looks like.
Why?
Because we're interested in buildings.
Yeah, because you shouldn't be photographing this building, okay?
Why shouldn't we be photographing the building?
Because you shouldn't.
Why? I'm asking you a question. Can I talk to you? I thought you wanted to get your message across, mate. You don't want to get your message across.
There it is. Look.
Pardon, mate? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
There it is. Look, it's on the platform.
Yeah, OK, so can I ask you a couple of questions about it? What do you all want? You all want to stop to Brexit? Why's that?
I don't think it's a very good idea.
You don't think it's a good idea? You voted Remain.
I did, yeah.
None of us want to make a comment.
You're trying to get your message across to people. This is going out to a lot of people. Why would you not want to talk?
I don't want to. Not to you.
Why's that?
Goodbye.
Yes. Very strange people.
Freedom, where's our freedom gone? The thing that they've done, is that they've betrayed the kids. And you can't betray the kids. That's why we need a second referendum, and I would say nobody, nobody over the age of 40 should be voting in that. Many people go to university now to do utterly fucking fatuous degrees. Almost always in social sciences. Wank. With a degree in gender wank. Close down the fucking teacher training colleges. What the fuck?
Yeah, we're fine. Yeah, no, I was just wondering what it was that you were filming. All it was is because obviously I saw you pointing the camera directly at the security.
Oh, well, what? Security what?
At the CCTV cameras.
Oh, yeah, we're doing a piece about CCTV cameras for the Sunday Times.
Oh, right.
It's for the Sunday Times Online.
Okay, have you got any authority from Westminster Council to be...
No, we don't need authority just for a handheld camera.
Right,
Don't need that.
I just thought I'd come over and check, obviously, because it just looks a bit suspicious pointing the camera directly at the CCTV cameras. So
You're joking, mate.
You are definitely railing against mass immigration, which you say have made life worse for white working class people. A lot of people would agree with that, but with you it's kind of dog whistle stuff, isn't it? I mean, don't you really have a problem with Muslims? You say in the book you dislike Islam.
Oh, I'm not terribly keen on Islam because I'm not in favour of what it seems to lend itself to a certain homophobia. I don't agree with its views in most Islamic states on apostasy. I don't agree with its views towards women. That's why I'm not particularly keen on Islam.
An entire religion. I mean, you just dismiss an entire religion.
I haven't dismissed it. I've just said the things about it which I don't particularly like.
And it's an important thing to remember if you're ever in this position. Never apologise. Never apologise. Because that is immediately an admission of guilt. And the woke will not wish to hear your apology. They will merely accept that you are wrong.
Second vote or stop it now? What do you think?
Well, that's a
what would you prefer?
Sorry,
oh, is it? Why? Explain why. Second vote, so people's vote, or just stop it now?
Stop what now?
Yeah,
Brexit.
Revoke.
Article 50.
Whatever.
Article 50, so put it back. Or just revoke.
Revoke.
Okay.
If we can't have that, people's vote.
What if you lost the people's vote?
I would say...
I mean, you might. You might not.
Yeah.
So what if you did? If you lost the people's vote, would you then be happy?
If there was no cheating, no lying, and everyone knew exactly what they were voting for, things would be a bit different.
Okay.
I don't honestly believe that everyone knew what they were voting for.
The real reason, of course, that we need a second referendum is that the vote has led to the complete destruction of Western civilization, and more crucially than that, of course, the money markets, the finance markets. We will see a recession like we've never seen before, and almost certainly Third World War, which is why, of course, we shouldn't allow people who are ignorant about these things to vote in such referendums. It's people like me. I'm a banker. You see, I'm a banker. So I know all about financial crises. Oh, yes. And we must have a second referendum, and people like me should be deciding, really, what the result must be. And I watched it with despair as that mountain of hypocrisy and self-regard, Diane Abbott, stood up and said that anyone who voted, the people who voted for Brexit were bigots and didn't like the look of foreign people. You're meant to be reaching out to new voters. That's 52% of the electorate, Diane, who aren't going to vote for you. All right? 52% you've labelled bigots. And then Shami Chakrabarti gets up and says, oh, don't leave me alone in this country with Essex man. And the snobbery and disdain and loathing that the London left in the Labour Party has for ordinary working people is remarkable. The party that was once the party of the working class. It's that liberal elite with their vested interests who desperately desire a sense of victimhood. And I suppose they are victims because they're thick as shit. Such as Tony Blair, for example, apologising for slavery. He didn't, so far as I'm aware, own any slaves. And also for apologising, I believe he apologised for the Irish famine back in the 1800s. And I'm pretty sure he didn't eat all of the potatoes. You see, the point is, the reason I admire Yasmin is at least she's honest. Unlike you and most of the other liberal, faux liberal left, she
I'm
actually...
faux liberal left,
well,
right.
Of course you are. At least she is absolutely clear about her loathing for the working class. As she says...
I'm clearly honest that I loathe you. I have no words to express how much I loathe you.
Well,
and in that, I feel quite proud that I'm able to tell you that. And we don't kill each other.
I feel warm inside, and I'd like to embrace Yasmin for saying that.
Just the fact I noticed on that one, it's called Stop and Account.
Stop and account. This is when an officer requests a person in a public place to account for themselves. Account for yourselves, you scruffy little twat. I.e. their actions, behaviour, presence in an area, or possession of anything. Possession of anything. And it says at the bottom in big letters, terrorism. It was just a really, really boring, addled old left-wing twat hitting you over the head with his own view of the world. These are the most deranged people I have ever met. And now
I'd heard that.
I'm used to thinking of the Remainers as... I thought they were the clever ones.
No.
But I think we do have to say sex work now as the sanitised way of saying that. Do you think it's...
Sex work, it's a ludicrous title. Whoring is a better title. But of course, you can't get away with that anymore. But you see, the way in which the grammar is policed moves you to a position where you are beginning to destigmatize something which really, really shouldn't be destigmatized, because it's dangerous, it's immoral, it's filthy, it's dangerous again, and it's exploitative and sexist. You know, I don't know how much more bad it could be. You know, you need to destigmatize. You need to destigmatize that? No, you need a stigma for it.
Theresa May, Tim Farron, Nigel Farage, Jeremy Corbyn. What would you do to him? What would you do to him? I really wish that the people who were taken in by that and agreed with that would look to the left away from the podium and see the rabble with their Palestinian flags and their lanyards sponsored by Hamas, would look to the raft of hypocrites, the raft of hypocrites on the Labour front bench, Thornbury, Abbott, Chakrabarti, all of whom don't want you to send your kids to private school or to selective schools, but do so for their kids. And for Corbyn and McDonnell, who have given support and succour to every possible hostile, violent, anti-democratic, terrorist regime or organisation they can. IRA, Hamas, Hezbollah, Soviet Union, Cuba, Venezuela. If you want people like that running your country, vote for Corbyn.
But the way they greeted his victory, the ejaculate flying round the studios, you know, people dancing with joy. It's just absurd. Yeah. I mean, they weren't alone. You know, Obama got the Nobel Prize within about 6 weeks. We're going to give him the Nobel Prize because he's black. There's no other reason. He hadn't done anything. No. And then you compare it to Trump, where they were openly hostile all the way through his presidency. And by God, their delight when Joe Biden won.
So here we have, standing outside Parliament, I don't know how long they've all been here, a group of narcissists who have been here for a long time, desperate, I think, to get their opinion that we shouldn't have a Brexit across to the general public. Usually on the BBC News, you will see them sort of poking their heads around. None of them will actually engage on the issues. My guess is that that's because none of them know what the issues are. Destitution, complete and utter destitution and financial ruination. That's what the vote means for me. See over that hill? I've got 4,000 acres of sugar beet. And do you know who's going to pick it? Poles. I tried to give the jobs to English folk, but they wouldn't do it for the wages I were paying. I say wages. I don't actually pay any wages. All the Poles get is the occasional kick up the arse, and they love it. They thank me for it. They go back to Gdansk with a spring in their step. What's happened to the British worker? Whatever you can say about the Labour Party, and I was a member for 37 years, they do not represent the people they were set up to represent. You know, they're a party of affluence. They're winning seats in the Cotswolds.
I believe them to be largely a kind of metropolitan elite type of people, you know, who look upon anything sort of in any way conservative with a small c to the right of Jeremy Corbyn as Nazi, actual Nazi.
Anyone who uses a language like that about this government is, by definition, a moron.
Yes.
We have a bit of a debate in the office about whether to use the word woke, because on one hand it seems to have degenerated into a meaningless term of abuse, and on the other it's a very useful catch-all for a lot of the things that are most awful about the world. You clearly have decided you will use it, but do you know what I mean when I say that it's
I know exactly what you mean. It's an awful word, and it doesn't quite express what we mean when we say it. Progressive politics is one way around it. Identitarian politics is another way around it, though that doesn't quite get you into the
the decolonisation stuff quite so easily and the trashing of the nation's history. There are other words, wank, for example.
Rod, let's kick off with you. We didn't expect to be talking about something as delightful, really, as the two brothers and their wives walking along in Windsor in this gorgeous way.
Well, I'm glad you think it's wonderful. I'm not sure I do. I can't think of... these have been very, very difficult years for the Queen, very, very difficult years for all of us. But I can't think of anything which has given the Queen more misery and heartache and trouble than that grasping airhead and her ginger husband. I have absolutely no time for them. 97.5% of the people in that refugee camp in Calais and Sangatte are not refugees. They are migrants. Now, it's not me saying that. It's not me saying that. You can listen to the non sequitur emotional incontinence of Simon, if you like, and go along with this sort of bizarre view of the world, but it is not the truth. Let's listen to what the main Muslim charity, which was raising money for those people in Calais, said. The guy who ran it went to Calais and said, "We are withdrawing our aid from Calais. They are almost exclusively," quotes, "fit young men who are happy and are not fleeing danger. I thought they had a valid reason to be there. They do not have a valid reason to be there." That's not me speaking, that's the charity that was raising money for them. But because of the Dianification of this crisis, as we've heard, the sort of stuff, the emotional stuff from Simon, and to a degree from Louise, this whipping up, they are human beings. Of course they're human beings. But what we must not do is do the wrong thing for the right reasons. And that would mean opening our doors and saying more should come, because more and more and more will die, will lose their life.
What did you think of Joe Lycett's much talked about performance on Sunday on Laura Kussenberg's new show?
Well, I thought it was exactly what you would expect from Joe Lycett, in being A, not funny, and B, left-wing. The most common thing often said of them is how desperately they desire their privacy, and tell us this through various conduits every day of the week, and sign deals with companies such as Netflix, presumably in order to protect their privacy even more through having fly-on-the-wall documentaries, and so on. They are hypocrites of the most outstanding order, and the term champagne socialist could have been invented for them. No, it was Lineker, wreathed in this kind of sententious pomposity, he said at the outset, FIFA have told us we ought to concentrate on the football. Well, we will for 2 minutes.
Yes.
But I'm going to grandstand, despite the fact, viewers, that I took a whole bunch of Wonga from Al Jazeera for years.
Yes.
Whilst, which is owned by the Qataris. And that didn't bother my little conscience one bit.
You know what's really contemptible, Rod, actually, is saying emotion should have no part in how we actually respond to
I'm interested in outcomes, not in your emotion. I'm interested in what is good for those people and what is good for this country, not in how you feel about yourself. For that, I usually get called a racist and a homophobe, because I have made jokes about black people before, and indeed gay people. But I like to think of myself in a very real sense as an equal opportunities cunt. Can you explain to me the context of this particular joke? Right. And that is at the point at which Joe Lycett should have said, no, if you want to understand the context, buy a bloody ticket like everybody else.
Fair enough.
And in the meantime, mate, bugger off and catch some burglars, you uniformed sack of meat with mittens, and stop ringing up comedians to find out, you know, why they're telling particular jokes. But he didn't. The spineless, quivering little wokey connived with the police. You think of yourself as a businessman who is coming to Teesside to possibly invest in a firm somewhere in the Teesside area, and you get off the train at Darlow and you get onto this creature of a train which seems to have been built in Czechoslovakia in 1953, and you trawl at 9 miles an hour through a desolated wasteland, and you think, what the hell am I coming here for? And it's not just that. It's also we've had a low-wage economy. That is vital. We have had a low-wage economy. We used to have great income coming into people's pockets from the steel industry, from ICI. Those were industries which actually provided people with a decent way of standard of living, a decent way of life. And I know, because I've spoken to lots of the Redcar steelworkers who lost their jobs when Labour closed the steelworks. So let's not forget that.
The IQs of people in the world have actually got smaller over the last 50 years. He says largely due to not eating enough oily fish, but I think definitely people have got stupider.
I'm sure they have. But I also think that you could probably place Prince Harry in a vat of herring and it wouldn't improve his IQ very much. If I'd called anyone, if I'd been at a Joe Lycett gig, it would have been the Trading Standards Office, not the police. It's very, very difficult to tell the difference scientifically between someone who's dyslexic and someone middle-class mum and dad who's sick. This is a man who is now the shadow Foreign Secretary and would be Foreign Secretary under a Labour government, and a man who appeared on Celebrity Mastermind a few years ago. Now, yeah, OK, it's stretching the word celebrity a bit, and it's certainly stretching the word mastermind until it becomes an oxymoron. And this is a man who, on that programme, was asked, the Rose Revolution of 2000 ushered in, got rid of Edvard Shevardnadze and ushered in a new regime in what country? And he said, Yugoslavia, which had ceased to exist 10 years before. Shadow Foreign Secretary.
I have to ask you, Rod, why do you think I shouldn't be able to vote?
Because your brain isn't fully formed. Just to go back to the BBC, why do they always say Stephen Yaxley Lennon, also known as Tommy Robinson? They never say, when they're introducing a transgender athlete, and this is Lawrence Smith, also known as Loretta Jeannie Smith. They never say that, do they? I mean, a couple of things. First, the good things. First, he didn't tell Angela Rayner that he was going to do the reshuffle, and I think that was very wise. I wouldn't tell Angela Rayner anything at all, ever, except to say, go away, learn to speak English properly, and learn that not everyone who disagrees with your asinine worldview is scum. I don't believe for a single moment that any members of the Scottish National Party, who are morons, believed that double rapist was a woman. No, I don't think anybody does. The rapist didn't believe he was a woman. His ex-wife didn't believe he was a woman. Nobody believes he's a woman. The biologists don't believe he's a woman. You know? He's not a woman. He's a...
Yeah. Look, Ange, I know you want a photographer, and it's, by the way, she's just hired another expensive foreign affairs advisor. Quite why she needs that, considering she's...
David Lammy needs that. Or an atlas. Just an atlas would do. Just give the man an atlas. Show him where Azerbaijan is.
Exactly.
You know, man is a plank.
Why do you think the left have so much hate for an emergent African nation like Rwanda?
Because they're racist. The left has always been racist. It looks upon black and brown-skinned people as their clients, who it treats with a kind of disdain, as if they need a pat on the head, as if they're always victims, as if they're always needy. And that's why it has this attitude towards Rwanda. And I do object to some of the charities who have been, in many ways, enabling some of those people to cross the channels, because I do think that they are complicit in the loss of life which we've seen.
How are they complicit?
Well, because if you are continually trying to aid people to cross the channel, more people will die as a consequence.
But which charities are trying to help people cross the channel? I mean, there are charities definitely that are providing food and shelter for people who are in Calais, but...
If you're providing sustenance and encouragement to people who are about to cross the channel, then you are complicit in getting them across the channel.
And that is exactly what we will do for Britain. But I will not do it with easy answers. I will not do it with false hope.
I will not do it with Monster Munch. I will not do it with Heinz toast toppers. I will do it
with sausages. He will do it with sausages.
We no longer value the acquisition of knowledge for kids, GCSEs and A-levels and so on. You know, it's about my truth versus your truth and my lived experience versus your lived experience. And when we put those two things together, you get a generation which is fantastically fucking stupid, i.e. ignorant of the facts, and doesn't value the facts, and is prepared to ignore the facts and to go instead on their own emotions and their lived experiences. And that's how you get a snaggle-toothed breast whisperer like Zach Polanski becoming an important politician in this country.
The misapprehension I think people have is about these so-called numbers, 52 and 48. They are not themselves real or intrinsic or tangible. Numbers are simply symbols, you see, that we give to quantities of things. They are not themselves quantities. And so there is no one-to-one relationship between the number and the quantity. It is all up here in our minds, and so it could be the case that while some may argue that 52 is a greater quantity than 48, at a deeper structure, it may be that 48 is a greater quantity than 52.